What is up? We are back talking all things NBA and betting. Christopher Hine, Michael Marne, Wes Cheng, Fabio Lucarini. We got some in-season tournament to talk about. We're going to take a little trip to the bet slip graveyard later. But we got to start with this Raps team, who were +3 last night and beat Phoenix. They beat the Suns. What happened?
So earlier in the day, we come up with our same game parlay for the Raptors broadcast. So we were very...
Just a heads up, yeah. Hambone is the Raptors on TSN producer.
Yes.
So just to give some background.
Yes. So we're coming up with these bets. Durant was questionable all morning coming into this game. He'd missed the last couple of games. Spread was sitting around 3. We all liked Phoenix, I think, just based on the Raptors coming in on a second game of back-to-back. Late flight. They land about 4 a.m. in Toronto. There's some flight issues. So there's a lot of reasons for the Suns to win this game. Couple minutes before 6 o'clock Eastern, Kevin Durant is announced that he's going to play. The line,
he was questionable.
He was questionable.
Morning, right?
The line jumps up to 4.5. Again, very reasonable. And then give like half an hour, the line trickles back down to 3. And it's 2.5 in some books. And lo and behold, the Raptors somehow pull it out, and the Suns' 7-game win streak. Durant doesn't lose in Toronto, and the Raptors made it happen on what I deem to be one of the most toughest spots to be in as a team. It's very confusing, and I think it's very much a microcosm of what the season is.
It absolutely is. This is who the Raptors are. They're 9-10 this season. They have some fantastic wins. Phoenix, they beat Dallas, they beat Minnesota, they beat Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. Then they have losses where they get smoked in Orlando. Brooklyn absolutely humiliates them. Yeah. So you kind of just have to look. It's been almost 20 games now. This is kind of who they are. They're going to have some great wins. They're going to have some head-scratching losses and head-scratching wins as well.
Who are they, though? Who are they? A team that... Because I thought they played some of their most complete games against Phoenix. But you don't get that every single night. It's very confounding. I mean, you're the numbers guy, man. Can you explain it with numbers, or is it just a mediocre team, 500 team? You're gonna ride the waves.
I don't think there's much of an explanation. And then when you look at the betting track record, they're literally right down the middle. Mm-hmm. Against the spread, down the middle, over under, down the middle. So I think just right now, I don't think the books really know how to peg them. Mm-hmm. And I think they themselves, their effort is so different. It's Jekyll and Hyde every other game. So it waves. So it's so hard to cherry pick anything of substance from this team. It's not like some of the other teams like the Pacers or Magic, some stuff you can cherry pick. The Raps, honestly, I don't know what you can say of substance.
That way, I have a question though. Yeah, down the middle, 11-8 against the spread this season. Mm-hmm. They're 4-1 in their last 5. Did the books sort of overestimate how bad they are? Why are they 4-1 in their last 5 against the spread?
We thought the books underestimated how good they
coming
would be coming into the season. Their win total was 36.5. We are all on the over. I thought we would get... I don't know what we thought we would get, actually, with this team. I thought we'd get a very good defense and then a struggling offense. I think we've gotten that up to this point. I'm just confused by the lack of energy.
I think we're all confused by this team. They are so consistently inconsistent.
Yes.
You can't bank on anything. And I think one big thing, we're seeing these trap lines. We saw it with the Bucks game. We saw it with the Dallas game. When the average person, if you think, oh, the Bucks are playing Toronto and it's only a 3-point spread, of course I'm going to bet Milwaukee. Same thing with Dallas. Even if you looked at the first game of the season against Minnesota, and the Indy line, they are massive traps. And I think what we need to do is we see these lines. It's like, oh, that seems fishy. Bet the Raps.
There's a lot of sharp money coming in on the Raptors, very close to tip off. We can't explain it. They know something we don't. That's why they are who they are. It's just been peculiar, and we've been tracking it all season long. And I think if you want to know how to bet this team, just see what the Sharps do. See what Vegas does.
That, and I think there are stylistic things that you can point to. So, last night against Phoenix, a team like Indy at Dallas, they can't protect the rim.
Yeah.
Whereas the Raps have a big across-the-board team who can get to the net. Barnes can bully his way. Siakam can get to the cup. So if a team lacks rim protection, that might be a spot where you might want to say, okay, the Raps have a fighting chance in this game. Whereas we saw against Brooklyn, they packed in the paint. They had Nick Claxton who was blocking all these shots, and the Raps couldn't hit from outside. So you have to look at who they're playing on a nightly basis, right?
So I'll give you some numbers to support that.
Sure,
obviously, I'm trying to look into this stuff. So in all their losses this year, 46 points in the paint per game. Mm-hmm. How big of a lift do you think they have in their wins, percentage-wise?
I'm going to say, because you're saying that, it's got to be much bigger. So I'm going to ruin the game. I'm going to say 10 to 15%.
20%. Right.
So they score 33% more points in the paint for all their wins. And so this is the crazy part. It doesn't matter the quality of the opponent. It's who the rim protection people are in the paint. So Phoenix and Brooklyn, best example. Brooklyn, technically same tier. Phoenix, championship contender. They have Nurk. Mm-hmm. super porous at the rim.
He looked awesome offensively last night, though. I know it's chirping fat, but yeah, he
shout
can't,
out
he
to him
can't
offense,
defend.
but he
Bosnian
can't
beast.
defend, right? So that's really what it comes down to. I know people always say, "Oh yeah, the Raps play up to their opponents," or like a Washington game, they kind of like they sit back a little bit. That's really tough to quantify and to put into actual betting like analysis. But when it comes to the paint stuff, that's real. You're seeing it in the track record. So I think that's what's something you have to look up. NBA, matchup-based league, and you got to look for guys like that. Nurk is going to be the paint protector. That's a spot that the Raps offense is set up.
So now I'm going to ask you a question. You're someone who will find these trends, and you'll usually test them out first, like usually in our group chat, before you go public with something. Is this something that you feel like confident now that if there's a weak rim protecting team, you're going to look to hammer the Raps in those spots?
I wouldn't say I'm confident in it because I don't think anybody really knows what to expect.
How
from this
can
Raps
you be
team.
confident?
It's so
Yeah.
tough, right? It's really maddening, to be perfectly frank. But I think you can start to just evaluate that now that we've kind of cherry-picked that idea, move forward the next few games. Just see, bad rim protector, do they stand a chance? And then a team that they're supposed to blow out, but they have a Nick Claxton or somebody like that. Let's see how they do in those situations.
And I do just want to circle back to the bigger picture because we're now seeing 9 and 10. We've had almost 20 games, and the clock is ticking on the direction of this team. Because what have we learned about them? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing at
so
all.
what is management doing with what the path they want to take? Are they just what ultimately what is the goal for this team? Are you trying to just be a 500 team who can maybe limp into the playoffs? Because the more time goes by, the clock is going to be ticking louder and louder.
Is the sample size big enough right now, in your opinion?
But what's significantly going to change? I mean, are they going to go on a massive run either way? I don't think so.
I think because we cover this team day in, day out, we've seen incremental improvements in two guys, namely Dennis Schroeder and Jakob Poeltl. Which I think Poeltl's gotten a lot better as of late, just on both ends of the floor. And Dennis Schroeder, last two games, 0 turnovers, 20 plus assists.
Yep.
So I think we're seeing incremental improvement to Hines' point, 4-1 the last 5. Some
Against the spread, yeah.
Against
the spread. So it's like, I feel like they're doing things that are a little bit better, in my opinion. But I would say the sample size, to your point, about when they pick a direction is upcoming. Yeah. I would say up until Christmas, maybe the new year, is when you'll start seeing a little more consolidation or bigger picture moves.
Yeah, and I think looking at their upcoming schedule, there are very winnable games.
A lot of Eastern opponents.
A lot of Eastern opponents that are going to be a direct, teams you can make up or lose ground against.
Yeah.
And with what we know from this Raps team, they're probably going to lose all those games and then beat the good teams that they shouldn't beat. Okay, let's move on to the in-season tournament where the Raptors, as we predicted, they're no longer playing in. But I got to say,
you love the tournament.
I do love the tournament. I'm guilty.
Love the
guilty as charged. The level of ball we're seeing, and it goes back to like last Tuesday, that amazing, beautiful moment of basketball between the Pacers and the Hawks with a total set of 250 that score in the 300s. I think we're the junkies. We're not the people that the NBA is trying to win over. But when you take regular season ball, which we all love, and you maybe just increase it 5 to 10%, it's unbelievable. It's amazing. And that's what the tourney's given us. Anyone who disagrees with me is a fool. The tourney's amazing. I don't care. I'll put the cape on for the NBA. I love the in-season tournament.
But was that in the Atlanta game a good game?
Yes, it was.
It was the worst defensive game ever seen in NBA history.
The level of shot making Buddy Hield was doing in the fourth quarter, the defense kind of got up, and Buddy Hield was doing crazy shot making. Halliburton was hitting insane shots. That was like, especially in the fourth quarter, maybe the first 3 quarters, there was no defense, and whatever, that's fine. The level of shot making was awesome in that fourth quarter, and even what we saw on Tuesday night, where it's like you have Boston running up the score, trying to get a spot and win the group. I know you have some thoughts on the fact that Joe Mazzulla had to explain why they were doing a hack-a-shack.
I'll go into it. I understand why fans may not understand all of the rules of the in-season tournament, right? It's new. It's a shiny object.
We kind of didn't, too. Thank you, Tim Bontemps, for tweeting along as that was happening to explain it.
Can be good times. He's great. You get people like Hein who just like absorb it, love it, carry water for the NBA every single time. Like, it's great. And listen, I have no qualms about it. But to me, I think the bare minimum is that players and coaches need to understand the rules of the game. So when I see things like, the Chicago Bulls, who I love to fade this year, Billy Donovan, getting upset over Joe Mazzulla hacking Drummond, not really, in my opinion, even though he backed it up in postgame, not understanding that point differential actually plays a major role. That part I love. I love that there's an added incentive for teams to try harder. We love honest actors. We love teams that we think, when we bet a team to win, on a spread, we expect them to play hard and cover that spread throughout the game, not be up 20 and then a team goes on an 8-0 run and then the game ends and then we lose the bet. That's kind of where I'm at with this. Joe Mazzulla hacks a Drummond, in order for Boston to qualify to win the group, they needed to win by 23 plus
They needed
points
plus 23
against
yeah,
the Bulls to
Orlando.
cover and to beat Orlando. And Billy Donovan got upset. He got upset with this.
He seems more confused as to what are you
Probably
doing.
That's
more
even worse.
confused.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
know.
worse.
That was the worst.
And
part.
that is worse to me. You need to know what's going on. You need to understand that Boston is trying to win this game by as many points as possible and not to get upset by that. And I understand Raptors fans earlier this year would have been upset when Joe Mazzulla challenged to play. That wasn't an in-season tournament game with 3 minutes left. That's another reason, right? You're mad about that. You take that out some other way. When it comes down to point differential, you cannot get upset. You cannot look confused. I think it's embarrassing.
You know what I'm upset about? The Orlando Magic got done dirty. Okay.
Yeah.
3-1 in their group. They beat Boston. Then they're at home and they have to watch Boston tear the Bulls apart.
Yeah.
And they can't do anything about it. So one thing going forward, have everyone play the last game on the same day, so no one can be.
It's impossible
But that's
with a
not
5-team
possible.
group.
Yes.
So they need to figure
they
out a
have to change
solution
the group
like
then.
like the World Cup does.
Yes.
Like,
The groups have to line up
Yeah.
in a way where that's possible because Orlando was 3-1. What were they supposed to do?
They deserve the right to dictate their fate.
Yes,
Having
exactly.
a goal and then striving towards that goal. The fact that they just had to win these games by as much as you can and then see what happens, I don't think that's how human beings
so now,
work.
from a gambling perspective too, there was a lot of opportunity. I know we flagged in our group chat
this guy.
of the minus 20. It's like, do we just hammer Celtics alternative spread minus 20? And then I think you countered me with, here's Tatum talking about, I don't care about point differential. So we were being sent mixed messages, but it's the coaches. And the coaches determine who plays, and the coaches knew, hey, we need these points to do that. So
Mazzulla did anyway.
Next year we know if there's point differential needed, kind of hammer those bigger spreads, do some alt lines.
What are your learnings?
Yeah, okay, so listen
Teach
to
us.
everything we've talked about so
Yeah.
far, right? Like new in-season tournaments, so many different elements that we don't understand. The league, the players, coaches don't necessarily understand. But through that, okay, the degenerate that I am, okay, I'm just out there looking at all the numbers, trying to figure it all out.
I don't even want to know what kind
Okay.
of spreadsheets you
So
had
yeah,
set
don't
up
worry
for this,
about
man.
it. But
It's embarrassing.
the best part about this all is because something like this, every time there's something new like this introduced to any league, not just NBA, there's always going to be nuances, and the odds makers are also trying to sort out all of this. So there's two takeaways that really, really were advantageous if you were on it as a bettor. Number one, the moment any team lost one game, doesn't matter to who the opponent was, they lose one game, the books immediately counted those teams out. So the best example was Philly went from plus 1,500 to plus 4,600. New York lost game one against Milwaukee. They immediately will put plus 10,000. Their odds got completely cut in half. They can still win the wild card. And so I don't think the books really fully understand the nature of the tiebreakers and how all that's set up. So the opportunity this year, any team that lost one game but ended up making it all the way through, their price was completely not reflective of how the tiebreakers actually work for the tournament. So if everything ceteris paribus next year is the same way, that's how you cherry pick it. Team loses one game. Look at the Boston, Orlando.
Yeah, what was Boston before the Tuesday? Weren't they 34 to 1 or something?
That's the best example. Going into that game, they were plus 3,100 to win the entire thing.
And playing the Bulls who are garbage.
And so now they're the favorite, right?
Yes.
To win the entire tournament. But that's because the books knew they had to win by X number of points. Brooklyn had to win that game, and it had to be by more than 23 points. So all these different scenarios that all had to be played together interstellar-wise, okay? It worked out for Boston. They made it, all right? So the two things, again, everything moving forward is catch teams that lose game one but are necessarily not necessarily out of it. And then number two, on the clinching day, I think we all learned there's an alt spread play somewhere.
Yeah.
If you took Boston minus 23, that would have been around plus 400. And look at how the game outcome was.
And they're a serious team. Boston's a serious team. They clearly want that.
And they're young enough that they want it,
And
right?
that's the thing. Tatum was talking before how he didn't really care. I guess players want to be cool and say they don't care that much. They care. They care. The games have shown that they're trying hard in these games.
Dude, Warriors,
But
Kings.
it's the coaches who care, because the coaches are going to determine who's the ones
Some
out
of them
there.
do.
No, but that's the thing. It's Joe Mazzulla cares about winning this. So it's yeah, the players might not care. You're on the court. I'm telling you as the coach, we need to hit this number to qualify. So therefore, the players are then going to play.
Well, and I think going forward, now looking at the quarterfinals, obviously it's going to be hard to say who's going to win. It's single knockout. This is NCAA style. But who cares the most? Probably LeBron James.
LeBron.
He is in legacy consolidation mode right now. He wants to add anything he can to his resume.
MJ didn't win an in-season
He's gonna say,
tournament.
you know what? And LeBron fans are gonna say, you know what? MJ didn't win the in-season tournament.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm normally the one that will push back on the Bron slander, but you are right, and he definitely wants this in his resume. And that who doesn't want to see LeBron win the first in-season
But
tournament?
the other betting note too, this different than a playoff 7-game series. The favorites don't deserve as much respect
Agreed.
as they would get in a playoff series, and you're seeing it. Like Boston shouldn't have made it. They kind of lucked their way through with Brooklyn winning against
Thanks to the Raptors, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Denver's out of this. They were the favorites of this thing the whole time. So it just shows you it's single limb, one game, like anything can happen.
Would you agree that based on because we've been following your bets, you have plenty out there, that there's value earlier in the tournament? There's value on the dogs. Don't necessarily. It's not as chalk as we think it is.
Not as chalk as you think it is, and I think this is the type of setup where you should really be trying to take long shots as opposed to a playoff series. Like if you look at 4 of the 8 teams that are remaining, 19th to win the championship, 14th to win the championship, 12th. So they're all teams in the teens. Come playoff time, none of those teams are gonna have a chance.
How many total future bets did you place on the in-season tournament?
I
You have to think about
it. It's gonna take some time to count it all out, but
Don't lie,
Ballpark it.
FanDuel will fact check this, and
Ballpark
give the exact.
fact check
FanDuel will
this,
be
right?
like, "This man is a liar."
all you need to know is I didn't go anybody chalk. I took all these long shots where I thought wild card wise it could work out. All I'm gonna say is I got a lot of skin in the game right now
Yeah.
in of the final 8, and we'll just leave it
So
at
then,
that. All right.
real quick, then before we transition off this, do you think there's more value to some of those teams that like in Indy or like a New Orleans who like, of
course.
they're like, hey, we're not gonna win a title, but like let's put all of our eggs into this and be like, you know what, we at
course.
least have a trophy. Maybe it's that soccer mentality.
They probably
of
can't
we
win
have-
the big one.
Yeah,
so-
but I think who we're seeing left, it's a mix, right? You have some of the kind of more favorite type teams, Boston, LA. You have some of the teams like the Kings, Pacers. So
Pelicans are
Yeah.
poised.
I don't think there's a straight answer. I think
think-
it's just who showed up for those games on the right night.
I think if you're talking degree of variance, that Pelicans team can beat anybody on any single night, and that's the perfect team that you want kind of in this mix.
It's going to
especially
be
if
fun.
Zion-
It's going to be fun, especially when you get to the semis in Vegas. There's going to be a lot of hype around it. It's going to be a good.
Especially if Zion Williamson's perfect from the field and CJ McCollum comes back. Yeah, they have a good shot. Again to put a bow on this, I think there's value in the dogs.
Yeah,
I don't really
definitely.
have a dog in this fight. I don't know who's going to win the tournament, but I just don't feel that you need that favorites are going to do what they do. This is not the NBA playoffs. They're not going for the Larry O.B. This is a random tournament. It's the first year this is happening. Bet the dogs.
We've called this out in the bet etiquette segment in the past. Everyone loves to show
Beticate.
their
It's beticate.
Beticate. Yeah, it's
Beticate.
beticate. We dropped the ball there. It's beticate.
Yeah, it's beticate.
Everyone loves to show their winning slips, myself included. I'm guilty of it all the time, and some people leave the losers out. That's fine. I'll take the chirps, but let's take a little trip to the bet slip graveyard. We got some bets that are done. There is Scoot Rookie of the Year. Yeah, you can rip that ticket
Ugh.
up. My Jordan Poole lead the league in scoring. I think we
Yes.
can call that one. That's done. Wembanyama Depoy. I know Fat,
We'll
you
go
got thoughts
deeper
on
on
that.
this, yeah.
And
Get on
Grizzlies over 45.5 wins.
Tough.
Not worried anymore.
Oh, they are absolutely
tough.
toast.
So these are some bets that a lot, like I know.
That's a great bet slip graveyard.
Yeah,
man.
so
Lucas.
I will.
We're just keeping it real with everybody.
I'll-
We
I'll-
don't win all the time. Everyone makes some bad future bets here and there, and you gotta acknowledge
It's tough
it.
out here on these
It's
streets.
tough out here, man.
Our first episode, I pushed the Pool at 90-1 to lead the NBA in scoring, and
You were just as loud as you are
yeah,
now.
and I sure look like an idiot now. But you know what? That bet dropped from 90-1 to 45-1 before, so I think I got some. Wes, let's just cue the tape. Wes called this right from the beginning. You guys ready for this? Jordan Poole to lead the NBA in scoring 90-1.
You know what it takes to be the NBA's leading point scorer? You have to be good. Jordan Poole's not a good player. He's not good enough to be able to average 30 points a game. Yo, hi, just to give you a little bit of update. What place do you think he is in the league right now?
Wow.
For points per game.
Is it, I'm going to guess, is it higher than his number? Is it higher than the 90-1 that he was? I'm going to guess it's higher than 90-1.
He's above that. He's got a nice solid 57 players ahead of him right now. But he's got a shot. He's got a shot. He's not out of it yet. There's time. It's okay. It can happen.
Jordan Poole.
There still is a lot of opportunity in Washington.
Oh yeah.
He's just not
Lots
seizing
of
it.
shots,
I
lots
think
of
we can
shots.
safely say he's not going to win the scoring title.
Because a wise man once said, to lead the NBA in scoring, you gotta be good. Okay,
Well, speaking of, you got to be good. You know what team's got to be good to win 45.5 wins? Yeah, Memphis Grizzlies are not good. And yeah, that's mine. I'll take a solid L for that.
Yeah,
My bad, guys.
that one's done.
Tough.
It's done.
That was dead on arrival. That thing didn't have a chance.
Ja is not
so
saving that
bad.
team to get to 46 wins. There's no percentage.
And listen, Steven Adams, like,
Okay,
you didn't
in my
expect
defense,
that.
okay, look, I had
But is
one.
Steven Adams really the
Okay,
driving
Clark.
factor?
so here was my one big lean. It was just 25 game suspension for Ja. They just needed to be 500 until he returned, and I thought they're going to make it all up on the defensive end. With Steven Adams being there, they had the number 1 D last
And
year.
previously in the past, without Ja, they were a really good team.
And so
without
there's
Ja.
a track record of that, and then they're getting in Marcus Smart. So, like defensively, I thought they could skate. What we've seen now is they are so offensively incompetent.
Wow.
They just can't do anything regardless of how good they are on defense. And then to add on to that, they suck on defense now too. So they're completely washed. And
Yeah, but they have
Ow.
reigning defensive player of the year,
Raining. Yeah.
Jaren Jackson
Speaking
Jr.
of the depoy,
Oh.
and this is quite odd that some people might look at this and be like, wait a minute, why do you have Wemby for depoy in the bet slip graveyard when I think some books have him as the most bet player for defensive player of the year? His
Embarrassing.
odds are shortening.
It's absolutely embarrassing.
Fab, this is just unload on this.
Go.
This drives me absolutely crazy. People, I'm telling you right now, do not waste your money on Victor Wembanyama to win Defensive Player of the Year. He has 0% chance of winning it. It's embarrassing. Listen, the
Stare
Spurs,
into their souls.
the Spurs are the
Tell
4th worst defensive team in the league. There's no world where this guy's winning DPOY. He's just not. So please don't bet it on anymore. I don't understand why bets are coming in.
It's a public bet.
Listen, I get the 8 block games are super sexy. That's not going to translate. It's just a waste of money. Don't light it on fire.
You're going to need to be at least like probably top 5 defensive team in the NBA.
A rookie is not going to win
But the
defensive player
math
of the year.
from where they are now to the end of the year, you cannot become a top 5 defensive
Let
team.
me bang it on the table one more time. I'll do the same thing as Fab. You're not a top 5 defense. You are not winning this award. It's that simple. It's not an individual award.
I don't want to look in the camera and say it, but like you guys are, but it's a rookie on a team that's not going to be good. He's not even going to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, check. We're all check gang.
He's not even going
Check
to win
gang.
Rookie of the Year.
Yo, run the tape. Run the tape when the last time we talked about this.
Wemby right now is minus 350 at the
Insane.
time that we're taping this.
Insane. Minus 350 right now, as we currently are taping, is an insane number. I am insulted as a gambler. I'd make the argument if Wemby didn't exist, we'd be saying the same things about Chet Holmgren right now. It's just Wemby is just 7'5".
We all told you, Chet. When we said it last time, we gave them a good number to get in at.
Yes,
What is that right
yes,
now?
we
Now
did.
he's minus right now.
He's
the favorite right now.
favored to win
right
the award.
now.
And hold on, just to be clear, we didn't say the race is over. What we said
No, I'm
was,
saying it. The race is over. it's
over.
Wrap it up.
over.
Wrap it up.
Listen, all we said was the price made no sense. And
Yes,
now we're
0
seeing
sense.
that it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And Chet is favored or neck and neck with him. So as you were like ranting about, the price was just nonsensical.
Wemby will have him on the highlights. He'll have him on potentially the counting stats. He's not going to have him.
The counting stats are pretty much dead even.
They're pretty even. I mean, Wemby's got more stocks. He's got a couple more, like a little more
It's
points.
got room for
and
more
rebounds.
usage,
Yeah.
too.
Sure,
That's
and
the thing.
he's getting
That's
the ball.
what could happen.
And they also have 3 wins as of this taping. And Chet Holmgren is efficient from the field, from 3. He's 43% from 3. Like, it's not even close. And this is what I
on one
was
of the
saying.
best teams in the league.
And this is what I was saying. Again, it's very early, but these are the trends that I think we outlined ahead of the season. People love shiny objects. It's the reason why Wemby's getting bet to win Defensive Player of the Year, which is nonsensical in every way. Chet Holmgren, Rookie of the Year. There's no value in it now, though.
So speaking
sorry.
of that Rookie of the Year, one more guy in our bet slip graveyard, and that's Scoot Henderson.
Yeah.
Like
I love Scoot.
this thing never had a chance. Like
Never had a chance.
I
There's
love
good
Scoot.
theory to it, but you know what? We mentioned on that same pod we talked about, it's a 2-horse race. Look at the pricing now for the Rookie of the Year pricing. It's like 97, 99% probability it's going to be one of those two
One of
dudes.
Chet or Wemby.
And that's what it should be.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Scoot, he was a super high pick. I mean, his summer league, he looked great, I think, in the one game he played. So it's not unreasonable to say he was going to be in the mix, but rough start.
are we worried at all? Because like it's looked ugly, man.
He's got that dog in him.
Yeah, he's got
fine.
the dog. I
Too
mean,
early.
The
It's too
argument
early,
for Scoot was, like, theoretically, was like, Wemby, Chet don't really score that much, good on defense, and then Scoot has an amazing
and
scoring
Lillard.
season.
Yeah.
Well, Lillard
Well,
being out
that's
of the
exactly
picture,
what it was
right?
supposed
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
Well, what's happened is Chet and Wemby are proving they got it on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
So There it is.
And they're very useful parts of their team. Like, I think that's the most shocking thing about Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone could like foresaw this. Like, he's actually a fulcrum on that team, an unstoppable pick and roll with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, hitting game tying threes against the Warriors on the road.
Yeah.
He's showing us some stuff. Love Chet. Love
All right,
Chet.
that's all for us this week. Just remember, anyone can show you a winning ticket, but only the true degenerates will take you to the graveyard of their misery. Thanks for watching.
Wow.